Alright, welcome to CE461. This is MATLAB session 1.3. In this specific session, we are going to be talking about 2D plots and writing scripts. Basically, our main subjects is 2D plots, creating M files, and writing scripts. But before that, I'll be talking about asking help from MATLAB. Alright, so let's go ahead and open MATLAB. Over here, what I would like to discuss with you is that how we can get the MATLAB help. Okay, so what we need to do is first, in case we have any problems, we are going to click on the help file. Now, when you click on the help file, there are three options for you: the examples, documentation, and the website. Let's go to the documentation. This documentation is extremely useful when you are having any problems with MATLAB. For example, let's say we learned the square root function in the previous class. So let's go ahead and click on this function. There is the definitions over here, the syntax, the description, and some related examples. Now, this documentation is going to be very useful for you, but this is not the only way to actually contract with the MATLAB software. What you can do, there is another resource for us. This is the MATLAB Central. Okay, now this MATLAB Central is a full resource for everyone, especially they have their own community. For example, let me write down the same thing. Let's see, when I write down square root, okay, it seems like there is a documentation, examples, functions, blocks, etc. And please note that there is this MATLAB community over here, or in this specific website, you can actually see many people's comments, codes. Some of them are freely available to everybody. So especially when you are doing your homeworks and etc., you will actually have the chance to interact with this website. So please keep this in your mind. Okay, now let's go ahead and continue with our session today. We will first be talking about plotting. Okay, now the first thing that we are going to learn is the plot function. This plot function actually plots the graph of two input vectors. So let's go ahead and create two input vectors from 0 with an interval pi over 180 to 2 times pi. Okay, now when you do this, you will see, actually if I put a semicolon over here, nothing will be printed on the screen. Okay, so that is one thing. Another one is alpha degrees, and this is alpha radian times 180 over pi. Okay, and if I actually plot alpha degrees versus alpha radian, you see that we are going to have a simple plot. Okay, so in this plot, you can actually play with the plot by yourself because the plot feature of MATLAB has been enhanced very rapidly. Let's say this is my plot over here, and let me actually put another plot in this specific session. I will say hold on to the current plot, which is going to be basically saving the first one, and then I will have another plot which is, let's say, sine of alpha. By the way, if I press tab, you will see the options that start with alpha. So when I actually add this, you will realize that I'm going to have two plots. One of them is the sine function, and the other one is the alpha radian versus alpha degrees. Okay, let's actually add the titles over here. I have x label, so degrees, and y label, by the way, let's see, degrees is over here. I have Y label. And I have, let me have the title, sine wave plots. Okay, let's check. I have radians, degrees, and sine wave plots. And these are some options. You can play with them by yourself while you're doing this exercise. Now, one thing, we can use the help file. Let's say help plot. Okay, if you do this, the MATLAB documentation will be shown to you on command window, right? Usually this is not the best way. If you go to the help and if you press plots, you will see I have plots given over here. So you can see the syntax, description, etc. Okay, so this is so far the plot function goes. Let me clear the screen and close the figure over here, and let's talk about the M files now. The M files is, I think, the most crucial part of learning MATLAB. So what are the M files? These are the files actually that contains the computer codes, and the M files can be categorized into two groups. One of them is scripts, the other one is functions. Now, to reach the M file, what we can do on the MATLAB screen, let me close the editor. What you can do, you can simply type in edit. When you do that, and an editor will open. Let me actually close it again, and over here I have new script. If you do this, editor will open. Or the best way is you simply press Ctrl and N, which is going to give you the editor, which is going to bring you the editor. Now, okay, so first of all, some recommendations. You must definitely save the M files before running them, for sure. And you must select the directory that is in MATLAB search path while saving the file. Okay, so because you can save M files, it's an easy way to store and edit the existing data. That is the most crucial part. For example, let's create two vectors, two matrices, and let's actually multiply the inverse of matrix A with matrix B. Now what I will be doing is that we have the editor open. I'm gonna write my first. This is my first matrix, and this is the second one, and I will have, let's say, as a solution vector, inverse of A times B. Okay, so this is my first script, and let me use the semicolons to suppress the outputs, and let's have solution. Let me call this solution. Please note that solution.m file is saved in the same directory, which is given over here. And the best way to run this is actually press run. Okay, or what you can do, let me clear the screen, what you can do, simply write solution. Okay, now when you write this, first of all, let me clear everything, clear all, and then let me run this M file. Please take a look at the workspace. I have A, B, and X given already over here. So which means that first A is created, this statement is executed, the second B is executed, and then X is calculated based on the M file. Okay, now let's talk about this in detail. Script file is a sequence of MATLAB commands, that is for sure. The commands in the script are executed in their order, which is basically a sequential order. And scripts do not take any input arguments unless they are defined within the scripts, but they may return output arguments. In this case, our arguments, our return output was X, and script files can be called a subset of M files. So you can think of the script as list of commands which we were already typing in the editor or in the command window. We are actually saving them in a specific file to run them sequentially. That is what it is. Okay. Of course, the naming of the scripts, should follow the similar rules to the variables. So they should be meaningful. Let me have an example for you, which we already have in our directory. If you remember the previous exercise, I was given alpha radian, alpha degrees, and I said hold on, plot the sine alpha, x label, y label, title, and we finally add a grid over here. If I actually press run, you will see the same file over there. So this is basically related with the scripting. Okay. One thing to note why we need actually scripts. The variables that we create actually remain in the workspace after the script is run. Okay, that is very important. So this way we are simply storing the data. And what else regarding these scripts, because we will be going into the details in the next session next week, we can type in comments there. This file is for scripting. Example. Okay, so when you use this sign over here, then this will be ignored and taken as comment. Okay, this % sign. Okay, so that was a short version, this short video regarding the last lecture. So we learned help, we learned how to create M file, and we write couple scripts, and we know how to comment in a script. I think that's it for the time being. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it.